G'day everybody. I want to talk about tarots and their stories, as they're a story. And when you do tarot readings, they can be the future, present, or past, right? And so they're coming out. So when you first start, you could be doing the future, you could be doing some of the present, and you could be doing the past. Now, when it comes to, you know, making sure that smarter creatures know certain things and before they're allowed to have the next upgrades and stuff like that. These tarot readers talk about it all the time, right? When it comes to these upgrades and all this kind of stuff. And when it comes to tarot readings, if there's something there, okay, we're talking about it, there's something there, we can make a movie, right? But when it comes to tarot card readings and stories, there's the future, present, the past, and you don't know when you started. Isn't that right? Black Betty, she's coming out to say hello about your story, right? And when it comes to that, and you don't know who you're reading, so, and it can relate to a lot of people, true. All stories can relate to people, definitely people are similar, right? And so stories can relate to people, and say tarot cards can relate to millions if you want to, right? But it doesn't mean it's yours, but you can think it's yours and it might help you in some sort of way, as they say. Unless you don't get too involved with it, definitely people don't talk to you because you might get a bit crazy. I got to that part, you don't get talked to, so you get a bit crazy because you've got to work it out in your head, right? Which is what I've done. And you need knowledge. Sometimes you need more knowledge and more time to work it out and to work out what's going on. So when it comes to a story and tarot stories, they're also in a riddle. So what they just said could be in all different readings. So this reading could be for further back, just like they said. But it can also be all in one reading as well. So you can have the future, present, and past within a reading too. So it can be a little like a few days kind of thing, or with throughout a week or throughout a month, right? And you can also have it definitely if someone's a key. So a story needs a key. So I'll get back to that for a second and help you explain it. And the story's around that key, like he's the main character of the movie, right? And so whatever he's talking about, thinking about, seeing, or whatever, will be in this story. Because he's the key. He's the story. He's the, and whatever got involved, whatever news he watched, it becomes the story. And whoever's involved in it, you would be written down. Or try to be translated. Definitely if you keep trying to look at it with cards that you try to make to help translate with spirit, which is what I'm going to do in the future. And anyone can do it. When it comes to, first you've got to work out things though, and know things. Otherwise, you might just trip out about how you think you're communicating. Right? It takes time to learn and to get facts and evidence, right? Which is what we're all trying to do when it comes to things like that, isn't it? So when it comes to readings, you might need to listen. So if you want to know the whole story and it's spread out, that story could be spread out over 3 years or 30 years. You just don't know the story until you start studying it. And the longer you study something, it depends on how cluey you are. So the more smarter someone is at something and they study it, they usually get through it quicker, usually. Because sometimes someone can be outside the box, it's got nothing to do with coming and give an idea. Sometimes it takes someone else to give an idea to you to get it to happen. And that's just the way life is and stuff like that. But when you want to work out something, usually you've got to study it. So you study it. And I've been studying these for about 3 years, maybe 4 since I first done work, right? And the first year, I'm like, what the fuck? And the first got me, like everyone does, like, oh man, this relates and this, and oh yeah, I see what they're saying. And I went with them, right? But then after a little bit, I'm like, hang on, this doesn't make sense. It's like when you read the Bible and stuff, how I can say things that I don't agree with, and stuff like that, right? And when it comes to all religions, I have that. So I can't relate to any religion because there's a few things that I just don't agree with that I just can't now be cooked with that because I'll go, well, I don't agree with that, and but that goes with their story. Right? And so that's not part of what I do. It's close and they relate. I could be friends with them, which is what I talk about, right? But I just couldn't do what they do. Like why we have different countries and we have slightly different laws, right? I could do why I'm there. That's why I come to visit. They're a friend. I get it. I respect them. It's like respecting a house, right? So while you're there, you listen to them more first. That's respect. True. It's their house, right? And you respect their rules and you understand them. But if the rules are too harsh, right, then people don't want to visit. That's why a lot of countries are suffering when it comes to getting visits, right? Because people are like, oh, I don't go there. They got these rules and this and that. That's why we need world rules to help us connect more better when it comes to, connection and getting along. is by all at least getting along with some standard top rules of communication, not to go too far and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes back to these readings, you've got to study it for a while, and then you see stories that relate quite a lot and come repeated quite a lot. I call that a more high probability of a path, because these stories, most of them probably won't come true, or they'll come true in bits. That one will, and that one maybe not, that one will, and that, because what that is, and they change too, is as we're living every second, and you try to look into the future right now, right, you would see a future, but that's only if I stuck to those actions. And if you do see a future and you know about it, now you've tapped into the probability of it changing, so it might change, right? And things do. And when you look into a key too, this key, not only do you get what's happening in these keys too, you'll also pick up the thoughts. So that can make it confusing too, when you get that. And the animals around you, imagine that too. So you're getting the story of what's going on, all the people who could be involved, right? And even maybe their stories, if it relates to somehow connecting to you, so it can go a little bit deeper, right? It all depends if it comes back to relates to the key, right? And you could have all sorts of paths at all sorts of times. And if these people start knowing these stories, then you're going to get even more paths, and the more you read, right, which is they talk about, which is not do too much reading. Definitely the other people know, like if maybe you're a collective and you're all doing this, you could cause a butterfly effect by reading too much, by wanting to know, and you can cause a butterfly effect. And you know what happens in the butterfly effect when he wants to change everything to his way? It never goes his way in the end, because they're trying to control that butterfly effect. Remember? And in the end he gives up. He's like, it's just not meant to be. Like, I'm trying to make something not meant to be. He just wanted. But in the end, her path was not meant to be with him. Right? That's how I see that butterfly effect. And he needed to realise that no matter how much he tried, he was not meant to go that path. It wasn't his path. Right? And he realises that. So imagine a collective that looks into the future, that tries to go on these paths and trying to make the best for them, but they're dominating. They're not actually going natural. They should know something, but go natural. Try put on the back of your mind, which is what I did, like how you can call it a scanner, right? Go, oh yeah, that's the story, oh yeah. And then play your life, and then you might see some things. And then when you see some things, you go, oh, is this where we're up to? Oh, I heard if I keep doing this, or I remember that. Of course, you don't want to get into it too much by needing to study. Some people might not even remember, and some people don't have good memory. Right? So you just do what you need to do. Or you listen to one every week or so on, because the less you listen to, it'll tell you a path, and then if you want that path, just stick to it. It'll come over time. Don't keep looking back, because every time you're looking back, because you're thinking about it, now you're changing the path. You get it? So I got that kind of thing. I started saying something. So it's best to try to get back to the Taoism. The Tao. You just chill out. Go with it a bit. Get some knowledge. Have a plan. Go with things. The main key of life is getting it right, isn't it? Not how do I need to get it right. Just start living it and getting it right. True. Anyway, people, have a good one and see you later. Bye-bye.